So I got all these bolts out of there. I'm going to go ahead and check the rear brakes and get that beat off there. It's just pretty tight. I'm gonna pop that off. Got a little, I don't know if that's gear oil or grease or what, but it looks a little wet in there. Maybe the seal gone out in there or something happened, but I'll check it out. The brake drum doesn't look wet at all. Pads still look good. I'm gonna pull that off and just check it, clean it up. A little wet in there. Very good. There shouldn't be any oil in here. too wet. That seal's supposed to go up top there. Let's go ahead and clean this out. Gonna go ahead and pull this axle out, I think. Save a little aggravation. Stinks. Crap. Alright, that'll be a little easier to access this. Bike looks a little, ooh, that's not good. A little lighter in front now. That'll work. Cracked. No, it's dust. Alright, so we'll go ahead and reuse those and then Clean this off. Yeah, it doesn't look like the oil is getting to the inside of it. Still dry. I'm not sure. I don't think there's supposed to be oil on the outside. Alright, so I went ahead and ordered a seal kit and a bearing kit. The bearings are alright, but I'll just keep the bearings around and replace the seals. I don't want to take the chance of that being as wet as it was, because I know it's leaking gear oil in there, because that shouldn't be wet, and that shouldn't look like that. So anyway, yeah, we'll go ahead and get that all replaced and cleaned up, and you know, so that way there's no ifs, ands, or buts down the road. So it's 23 bucks on eBay, so that'll be here in a couple days. But in the meantime, I'll get this all cleaned up and prepped for the new parts. Seems like every time I go into something and tear it down, it needs something, so we'll just that's the last of it. So let's get some more brake cleaner at the store tomorrow. But yeah, it's come with all new seals and get all that taken care of. I mean, I still feel pretty pliable, but I don't know. I'd rather just replace it and be safe. So yeah, every time I go to tear something down, I need more parts. Go figure, right? Get this all cleaned up, get this all situated. And I'm just gonna paint some parts today. I have to pull the exhaust off and paint that black, and probably pull the shifter lever off and paint that black as well. Power wash all this dirt off here, kind of clean that up. Top of the engine's all dirty, so I'll put the car back on, put a bag around it, or maybe I'll just put a bag around this part right there, how it is, and then just pressure wash all this off. But can't really do that until I get the rear end part, so I can put the wheels back on. Thinking about getting one of those motorcycle lifts, those little jacks. That I can roll stuff around, but they're pretty pricey. I've seen some used ones for cheap, but I don't know if they're gonna need to be rebuilt or whatnot, so probably just hold off on that. And then the plastic renew, I'm gonna go ahead and try that after I get the decal kit on there. It should help out. So yeah, it definitely looks a lot better with these rims on there. You know, they're not all jacked up, they're pretty back to normal, I guess you could say. I did put the new brake pads on the front, so we're good there. I'll have to flush this brake fluid out. But I did set the seat out in the heat today, and we're pretty much stuck with those wrinkles. They're not even wrinkles, they're just a deformation. So it is what it is. Learn my lesson. Don't heat it up when there's a big bump in it. Alright, so turn the rear end down. We got some leakage in there. It was all wet in there. Gear oil slinging around, so now that seal's gone. I ordered a bearing kit and a seal kit, and I'll just hang on to the bearings because the bearings are fine. I just don't want the oil slinging around in there, so tore that all apart. And then yesterday when I went to go drain it, the drain plug was sheared off the head of it, and the skid plate was pretty trashed. I'll replace that seal and any other seals that need to be replaced and put it back together. I just didn't want all that oil in there. Eventually it would cause a problem because this thing was out of oil. I wouldn't say out of oil, but I mean there's very minimum oil in it, just due to the drain plug on the bottom was sheared off and the skid plate was completely smashed. So he must have hit something and it sheared that bolt off and started leaking in there. It was all wet. You guys see under there? It's all wet. So I put a new bolt in there from the side, right here, and that's just the check. So when you fill it, it'll start to run out here, then you know it's full. So I just swapped that one to the bottom, and I got another one coming, and I actually got two. I got one there and one there coming, and then the seal, little washer, and then the new skid plate for the bottom. So this is the skid plate. You can see it rusted through right there. I mean, it's pretty trashed, so I had to get a new one coming. The drain plug was right there. That's where the bolt goes, so it was definitely sheared off in there. So got a new one of these coming, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on my wife's bike and take hers off and put that one on this bike, because I know it's still good. So I'd rather have my wife get the new parts than this bike. Then I also have a battery hold down for this bike, and I'm just going to swap them with my wife's. And what else? Choke cable should be coming. Got the air filter. I got the exhaust off right now. I'm painting it up, and painting up the little heat shield that goes right here. So get that painted black again, and I'll just take some steel wool to this, or some tin foil and soap, and I mean it's not that bad. I'd paint it, but I painted my wife's with some high temp paint, and it just started burning off anyway. So what else we got? We got a battery coming. I did get the new front wheels on, and this discount tire had a hard time. I had to bring him the other rim that I had sitting up here, because one of them, one hole there, was leaking around the bead. He seemed to think it was the rim. I'm leaning toward it was the tire. I got a lot of bead seal around there, so I know when I tried to pop the bead off myself by backing the truck over it, there were a bunch of rocks coming out of it, like tiny little gravel pieces. So I want to go with the tires, because I've never had a problem with these kinds of rims leaking unless they're completely bent. So, you know, I've never brought them like 2 used tires to swap over. It's always been 4 new tires, so I'm gonna go with that. But at least they're on, they're good, they're holding air, and they're not offset. They're the original factory ones, so that's a plus. And it's working on this little bracket up here, getting that straightened out. Got it touched up with some paint, and I got the bumper beam painted up. So those are up here. I went with that dark metallic one. I just like the look of that better, so I went ahead and just painted that up. There's the exhaust, painted that black again, and almost lost my phone there. I did clean up the airbox, so it's all clean inside. It's not oily and grimy. Cleaned up some of the other plastic parts as well, and cleaned up the gas tank. I did put a new petcock in there, so that one's all set to go. I really ordered it for my wife's bike, but there was a 2-pack deal, so I got one for her sitting in that box there. I noticed when I looked in her gas tank the other day, the screen is just laying in the bottom there, so I want to drain her gas tank out and get that out of there. So What else are we waiting on? So we got the rear bearings and seals. I got a carb rebuild kit, the choke cable. I need to change the oil. I need to build a rear diff.